Good afternoon, everybody. So, I'm kind of at a standstill with the axle project that y'all saw yesterday. Are some good old 1 tons. Kind of explained it in the description of the last video, but that big old beast is gonna be quite heavy, and the half tons, the corporate 10s, are just not gonna hold up. So I decided to go with a Dodge Dana 60 out of a 90-ish W250 pickup, and then a 14-bolt full float rear end out of a mid-80s Chevy 1-ton. I also did the rear disc brakes from Off-Road Design, as well as the 4-inch/5-inch lift from Off-Road Design that I got from a buddy of mine down in Florida. But anyways, I'm at a standstill with it. I really can't do a lot with it because I'm waiting on wheel spacers to be able to put the tires on the front axle. And then I also need to re-gear the rear axle. Because currently the Dana 60 has 410 gears and the 14 bolt sadly has 373s. So instead of taking and re-gearing the front end, I decided to re-gear the rear end, mostly because I need the lower gears. I'm running 37-inch tires on this setup, and I'm not going to go any bigger than that. It's just too much. 40s, I keep getting told that, but it's too much. Too much for what I'm doing. 37s, though, do require some gearing. I figure I might as well go with the 410s since I on a budget, but I also already have the 410 lower gear ratio in my Dana 60. So it just made sense. So I bought a rebuild kit for the 14 bolt as well as the new ring and pinion. So that'll be a project that I have to freaking put into. Just stay tuned. I'll show as much of that as I possibly can because it's a bit of a process. And re-gearing axles is tedious, to put it mildly. So what I've decided to do, was in that the back of the truck is wide open the way that it is I'm going to do some woodworking today. I have this plan in my head to work in some shelving into the back of the Suburban. I'll show you kind of what I've got drawn up here. This is a rough sketch of what I'm trying to do. So what you see right here, this is where my spare tire would go in the factory setup. It's got a bit of a U shape right here that normally your stock spare tire would fit snugly into and it wouldn't be an issue. However, I run way too big of a tire to fit in that slot, but it does make good storage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to block this off with a piece of wood, and then I'm going to cut out a little slot right here that I can reach into, and it basically turns it into a deep storage, something that I can kind of slip stuff into and pull it out if I need to, kind of like tools and things like that, because it's a steel base, so why not? Then I'll do a bit of a cabinet shelf above that, a slide out. I'll have some void areas, a couple of them. So like right here and right here are going to be just open storage. They're going to be little inset shelves. Mind you, all of my wheel well right here is going to be covered up with a wood panel. However, I can't put any storage in there, so I'm just going to leave that kind of blank. But the little cubes, little 3x3 areas, I could store a phone or chargers, fiddle-faddle like that, nothing crazy. Right here, I was doing some measuring today. This is not possible. There's not that much space. This line right here should actually be sitting right about here. That was my mistake in my original sketch. I did this sketch without any measurements, so it is what it is. This spot right here was originally going to be a void shelf, but I've decided to just take and set that up so that I can put the 6x9 that I have right there in that little spot on the box. So I have some speakers, I have my tunes, no big deal. Okay, so this is going to get split right down the middle where you see the dotted line. Okay, and then I'm going to cut across right there. All right, and this whole back half of this board is going to be my two sides that are going to go over the wheel wells, and that's going to be the base from which I start with. All right, stay tuned. You'll see how it turns out. I've got a buddy who's a lot better at woodwork than I am, who has offered to come over and help me with, you know, some of the more specialty tools, like jigsaws and stuff like that you need for the woodworking that I just don't have. I focus a lot on metalwork, not woodwork. It is what it is, but it's good to know people. So, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I'm happy to answer, happy to just kind of explain my thought process. And if you have some ideas that maybe are better than what I've got going on, let me know. The worst thing I can say is I already have this in my mind. Other than that, I'm open to anything. This is a long-term project, not something that I'm looking to just one and done. So if I find a better design, I'll roll with it. Anyways, I appreciate you guys. And remember, if you ain't learning, you ain't living. Have a good one, y'all.